Everyone, welcome back to the North American LCS. Rivington here in the interview lounge, joined by Dyrus of Team Solo Mid. Dyrus, coming into these matches this week, it's been, like Jat said, a return to the old guard. You guys have seemed to just kick it into a different gear. What's the mentality behind this?
Right now, for a mentality as a team is to be more team-oriented. In fact, when it comes to our individual performance, I think we're all actually playing a lot worse individually, except for Wild Turtle. And the reason for that is I always hear like, oh, shoot, I messed up, or oh, shoot, I messed up. But when it comes to team fights and objectives, we've been getting that down very well.
And how has that changed? The communication comes from Reginald, obviously, in the beginning. What's going different?
Since the 310 patch, our picks are a lot different. We're not really tunnel visioning on like what's only OP. Well, we kind of are, but we kind of aren't. It's kind of a mix of both and what we're comfortable with playing. We're not banning out our own champions as much, luckily. I don't know, we're just doing well.
And speaking of mentality and now picks, what is the mentality like when you have a champion like Rumble? With all the history that you've gone through with it, obviously in lane, now using it yourself, what's it like to know you can always have an impact on the game?
For Rumble, I'm always looking for the team fights, but my biggest weakness on Rumble, with probably 90% to 100% of the games, is I always miss creeps. Like, I literally missed like 20 last hits this game, and that's just unacceptable in my mind, so I usually go on tilt. But since we're tilting over to being a team-oriented team and just communicating and, you know, not playing for greed, not playing like solo queue, not playing as individuals, but playing as a team, it's been a lot better on my mind, where I can rest at ease, where, you know, even if I do like I have a little shaky lane phase and I make like a little bit less of a smart decision, that I can always rely on my team to, you know, play team fights properly, pressure objectives, and let's say 4 of us are top and I'm bottom, I'm like, don't fight, I'm not there. We actually back off a little bit now instead of, you know, just going all in for it. So we're actually listening to each other a lot in terms of communication.
Well, from the 18-minute Rumble alt engagement at Dragon that you guys really turned that tide of the game with, and the Shen ultimates more spot on than, you know, you have previously wanted in the past, really bringing it all out. Like you said, sometimes everybody's faltering, but everyone comes together in the end. And kind of, we talked about this earlier, that you guys have been on a tear. What else is in the back of your mind that is causing this gameplay to come out from TSM?
One of the biggest reasons is we don't want to get relegated. The first thing that came through our mind, you know, when we lost Law and we ended up in 3rd place. I didn't even realize we were 3rd place until later on, but Reggie was going on and on about, we can't get relegated, guys. We have to win. We have to go 5-0 this week. We can't lose. Losing is not an option, or we'll all be poor and broke. And, you know, that mentality has been driven into me, and what that brings up is there's a lot of stress when it comes during scrims, where there's been a lot of times where we scrim and something goes wrong and I go on tilt, and usually we bring up everything now. We don't really, you know, let things go by. When we have a mistake, we don't, you know, move on and be like, whatever, just don't do it again. We actually address the issue, like I've said before in past interviews. We're addressing it, and we're just getting better.
And coming up, a few more questions for you. Within the rest of your games, who are you looking at to give you the most trouble?
Who are we playing again?
You guys have quite a few games. Off the bat, I don't know. Just in general, you guys have come up to have already 2 games that were Coast and Velocity, so they've been towards the bottom. You have Cloud9 coming up, so obviously they're going to put up a fight.
Our main focus is probably Cloud9, obviously, because they're first. After watching their game, it seems that the 310 patch has hurt them a lot, but we should always play at our best, and we'll see how it goes.
And obviously, Super Week, very long. Final question for you. I kind of asked Smithy this as well. With all of these matches, with having to show your card, your hand, how do you stay unpredictable in a Super Week?
Well, the biggest reason for being unpredictable, and that applies to all teams, is because before Super Week we had a lot of time to practice. Every single team has had at least a week and a half or, you know, a lot of time to practice for Super Week. So you don't really know what anyone's ever going to play, whether they're going to stick to what they're doing as always. When we do research, we see all these different picks and we have no idea what teams are going to play. It's 3-10 patch. The only way for us to predict what other teams are doing is that we've scrimmaged against them and we kind of have an idea of what we want to ban out.
So as it goes, the environment you guys are forced to play in manifests the situation day in and day out.
Yes, and the way we prepared for that is in all of our scrims, we just try to learn to play against everything because when the time comes, we're not going to be able to have enough bans. And we're just going to focus on what's strong for our team comp and what's good against theirs. And we're just going to like target ban people.
All right, Dyrus, thank you very much for the interview. Congrats on the wins. Best of luck in the next Cloud9 matchup.